Good afternoon, and welcome to this National Eagle Court of Honor recognizing Ryan Andrew Mahoney for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. My name is Chase Cabot, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies this afternoon. May I please have Father Jeff Frost come forward to lead us in the invocation.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to St. Timothy's. Let us pray. Most gracious God, we come to you this day thanking you for your abundant blessings. And we ask you to join us in this celebration of Ryan Mahoney attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. Use this ceremony to inspire vision and to encourage his troop to follow in the Eagle path. Help us give well-deserved praise and honor, and also to realize that becoming an Eagle Scout is not so much a destination, but a way of life. We acknowledge your guidance in helping both boys and adults to work together to bring leadership and appreciation of the outdoors, even when they were perhaps unaware of your presence. You forged the hills and mountains these young men have hiked and climbed. Your hands formed the lakes and oceans they swam in. You know each animal and plant they have watched with wonder and awe. You protected them from the elements, provided the food to cook and eat, and empowered the fires that warmed them. You are the one who sharpened their minds every day to learn skills and facts, knots and first aid, how to lead and how to follow. God, continue to watch over Ryan as he grows into the young man you intended for him to be, and give the adults that surround him the patience and wisdom to guide him, as well as the other eagles to be. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Father Jeff. May I now please have Cole Jordan come forward to lead the Troop 805 Color Guard, presenting the colors. Will the audience please rise?
Color Guard, attention. Court, attention. Color Guard, forward, march. Color Guard, halt. Prepare to post the colors. Post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color Guard, about, face. Forward march. Color Guard, halt. Color Guard dismissed. The audience may be seated.
Thank you, Cole and the Troop 805 Color Guard. May I have Mr. Carns come forward to officially open this National Eagle Court of Honor.
As a member of the National Council of Boy Scouts of America, it's my honor and my privilege today to formally open this National Court of Honor for the purpose of recognizing the achievement of the Eagle rank by Ryan Mahoney.
Thank you, Mr. Carns. I now invite Mrs. Oakey to come forward to lead the rededication to the Scout Oath and Law.
The Scout Oath and Law represents the core values of Scouting. They guide each Scout through his years in Scouting and establish a moral standard that Scouts carry with them the rest of their lives. I will now lead Ryan in a rededication to the Scout Oath and Law. Ryan, please join me. Ryan, please hold the Troop 805 flag and make the Scout sign and repeat after me. On my honor, I will do my best.
On my honor, I will do my best.
To do my duty to God and my country.
To do my duty to God and my country.
And obey the Scout law.
And to obey the Scout law.
To help other people at all times and keep myself physically strong. To help other people at all times.
At all times, and to keep myself physically strong.
Mentally awake and morally straight.
Mentally awake and morally straight.
2. Please continue to hold the Troop 805 flag and make the Scout sign and repeat the Scout law together with me. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Will all Scouts in the audience please rise and make the Scout sign and repeat the Scout oath with me? On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 2. Will all Scouts in the audience remain standing, make the Scout sign, and repeat the Scout law with me? Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Please be seated. Ryan, you've already had a very long trail to Eagle. Actually, a fairly swift trail to Eagle, I think, although sometimes it looked longer than it needed to be. More on our part than his. Trust me, there were some complications along the way, as I recall. But I really do want to congratulate you on your Eagle Award. And I know that you're going to remain with the troop, and you will certainly soar very much like an eagle. Thank you. Do you want me to continue? Since I'm next up? Yeah. Okay. What does it take to become an eagle? We are here tonight to honor a young man as he becomes an Eagle Scout. As we do so, it's important to reflect on what it means to be an Eagle Scout. The 1938 Handbook for Scoutmasters put it this way: the badge which accompanies his advancement and which the Scout wears on his uniform was not to show that he has passed certain tests. There should be no past tense implied. On the contrary, each badge cries out, "I can, right now and here." So what can an Eagle Scout do? Let's take a look at some of the things he has done preparing to be an Eagle Scout. In terms of rank badges, he has earned the Scout badge and the ranks of Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, Star, Life, and finally, Eagle. Along the way, he earned 12 required merit badges and 9 elective merit badges. He served the troop's leadership in positions for a total of 16 months and spent at least 13 hours on service projects, not including the many hours that he spent on his own Eagle project. In all, he has completed approximately 325 requirements. So, what have these requirements taught him? Who is the Eagle Scout? First and foremost, of course, he is an outdoorsman. He knows how to camp, swim, hike, use woods tools, build a fire. They like that part especially. Use a camp stove, and find his way with map and compass. He spent at least 20 days and 20 nights camping out in a tent he pitched on a site that he chose. Many of these times, he planned his own menu and cooked his own food. The Eagle Scout is comfortable with nature. He can identify local animals, plants, including the poisonous plants. He understands the causes of water, land, and air pollution, and developed a project to solve an environmental problem. He embodies the Scout motto, be prepared. He knows how to treat fractures, head injuries, hypothermia, convulsions, frostbite, burns, abdominal pain, muscular cramps, even knocked out teeth. And we sincerely hope he never has to use those skills. He knows what to do in case of fire, explosion, desert emergency, motor vehicle accidents, mountain accidents, food poisoning, gas leaks, earthquakes, flood, tornadoes, hurricanes, atomic energy, and avalanche. And we sincerely hope he never has to use any of those skills. An Eagle Scout is a good citizen. He's been to a city meeting and knows how the city government is organized. He knows who his US senator and representatives are. He has written a letter to one of them about a national issue. He's read the Declaration of Independence and the US Constitution. He knows how to manage his money and understand the risks and benefits of putting his money in savings bonds, mutual funds, common stock, and real estate. He has set financial goals and worked toward achieving those goals. The Eagle Scout has also set and worked towards fitness goals. He's competed against himself in tests of aerobic endurance, flexibility, and muscular strength. He knows what it means to be physically, mentally, and socially fit. He's a good family member. He knows what things are important to the members of his family and has talked to his family about finances, drug abuse, and growing up. All of these things he did in order to earn the merit badges required for Eagle. Beyond those, he earned 9 elective merit badges, which introduced him to such subjects as entrepreneurship, horsemanship, oceanography, archaeology, radio, aviation, weather, pioneering, and white water. So what is an Eagle Scout? Well, to quote the Handbook of Scoutmasters again, he is a young man who is qualified to help others as well as to take care of himself. His badge is not a declaration, but rather a symbol of knowledge and ability. Ryan has achieved all of these. And I can certainly attest to his knowledge. I had the pleasure of participating in his Eagle project. And I have a bike. I've never had to maintain a bike. Always take it down to the bike shop. But as part of Ryan's Eagle project, he taught me how you could dismantle a bike and put all the various pieces back together and it still work. So, Ryan, it has really been a pleasure knowing you, and I really congratulate you on your award.
Thank you, Mrs. Oakey. Ryan, it is now time to retrace your trail to becoming an Eagle Scout. Will Mr. Gary and the Scouts who volunteered to participate in the Trail to Eagle line up in front of the podium? Ryan, proceed to the beginning of the Trail of the Eagle.
Ryan, I represent the voice of the Eagle, and I invite you to retrace your trail to Eagle Scout. Ryan achieved the rank of Scout on March 13th, 2007. He achieved the rank of Tenderfoot on April 8, 2008. Am I keeping up? He achieved the rank of Second Class on July 8, 2008. He achieved the rank of First Class on December 16, 2008. He achieved the rank of Star Scout on October 6, 2009. He achieved the rank of Life Scout on July 13, 2010. And he achieved the rank of Eagle Scout on December 6, 2012. I first met Ryan, when I first met Ryan, I knew little about Boy Scouting, and I knew little about what a Boy Scout was. I was not a Scout when I was a boy, and my sons were young Cub Scouts in a Cub Scout pack. Our committee chair at the time was putting on a bridging ceremony, and she came to me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I got the most amazing Scout to come talk to our Cub Scout pack. He's amazing. I've seen him speak. He's incredible. I'm so excited. He's going to teach every one of our little Cub Scouts what Boy Scouting is about and what a Boy Scout is. And he's going to show them." And I thought, yeah, sure. And then we had our bridging ceremony, and Ryan came to speak. And Ryan walked them through a PowerPoint that he'd made himself about a kayaking trip that he'd led in Alaska. And he had every one of our Cub Scouts, from the Tigers to the Webelos, absolutely riveted and in the palm of his hand. He had every adult in that multipurpose room riveted and in the palm of his hand. And he had me in awe. And I sat there and said, "So that's Boy Scouting. So that's what a Boy Scout is." It was a couple of years until I met Ryan again when we joined the troop. And from then until now, he has never wavered in being my paradigm of what a Boy Scout is. Among the many things that I'm sure some of our leaders will share with you, I would like to talk about the ideal of servant leadership. Ryan has been a model and a support to our younger Scouts in every way. You can ask any one of our young Scouts in our troop if they recognize this senior Scout or that senior Scout, and they might or they might not, but you can ask any Scout in our troop if they know Ryan Mahoney, and they know Ryan Mahoney. You can always tell Ryan Mahoney at the troop meetings because he's always been the one with the crowd of younger Scouts around him with their Scout books, getting their sign-offs. And Ryan, always with good cheer, and always with patience, and always with that smile, takes as long as it takes until he works through that crowd of Scouts, teaching them knots, talking about first aid, and getting their requirements signed off. I bet if you did a poll of the Scout handbooks in our troop, you would find hundreds, if not thousands, of rank advancement requirements with the initials RM next to them. And so he remains, for me, the paradigm of what a Boy Scout is and what Boy Scouting can do and what an Eagle Scout should be. Ryan, my pleasure to represent the voice of the Eagle tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gary. I would now like to ask Tanya Hansen de Jong to come to the podium to describe Ryan's Eagle project.
Good afternoon. I am so honored to speak about Ryan's Eagle Project because the project that he presented is only a fraction of the work that he has done with Adopt a Family Bikes. Ryan's project was to provide 50 bicycles to Monument Crisis Center. These were bicycles that he had to have donated. So there were 2 bike drives where he got his fellow scouts up on, I think, Saturday mornings, which is not always easy to do, get those bikes collected. And then he had to have a whole proposal about how those bikes were going to be repaired, with a map for how the workspace was going to be organized. He got scouts together, actually taught them how to repair bikes. Ryan himself is a whiz with bicycles. He's really we've worked together now 8 years, and it's just been so wonderful to see him grow and step over and help some of the adult volunteers on repairing a bike. Ryan not only got his 50 bikes that he wanted to donate to Monument Crisis Center, but he broke our record. Sorry. The previous year we had 200 and some bikes, which we were so thrilled with. I think it was 225. We got 358 bikes. These are bikes that go to people who might not get a gift that year for the holidays, people who need the transportation to go from one job to another. The 50 bikes went to Monument Crisis Center, and he was there helping distribute them, which is always so, touching. Not only distributing, but making sure that every single bike fit each person perfectly, because with his passion for riding, he knows you have to have the pedals adjusted just properly and the handlebars adjusted just at the right height so that you can really appreciate that bike. And with each bike also came a helmet to make sure that those people were safe. The other bikes beyond Monument Crisis Center, a vast majority of them went to the Richmond School District, where the principals had identified the children that would not receive gifts for the holidays. Truly an incredible project, and I know it was hugely stressful for you. Just as school is coming to an end during the holiday period, to also balance this and managing it. But you did a wonderful job, and I'm not surprised, because anybody that's here that knows Ryan knows that whenever you ask him to do something, he comes through. I was talking to some fellow parishioners here. Monument Crisis Center alone has received donations from Ryan when he's videotaped the parish musicals and then sells DVDs and then taken the money to Monument Crisis Center. And that's just a small little example of what Ryan does every single week. He didn't start working to become an Eagle Scout with this project. He's been doing it his whole life. So I'm very proud.
Thank you, Tanya. I would now like to invite Mr. Martin to share their story of Eagle Mountain.
Thank you, Chase. So this is the story of Trail to Eagle Mountain. Early one morning, a young boy stood at a trailhead. Before him rose a mighty mountain, which seemed all the mightier when compared with his smallness. A trail led to the mountain and then up to the incredible heights before vanishing in the clouds. On this trail, the boy could see other boys and young men, some of whom turned and beckoned to him to follow. The boy began to climb, refusing perhaps to believe that he could ever reach the top. At first, the trail rose gently, and the boy had many companions, but soon he began to sweat and breathe heavily, and many of his companions turned away, and still the boy climbed. At times, he climbed quickly. At times he climbed slowly. At times he had to go down a little way to find another path or stop a while to catch his breath, but still he climbed. The trail became steeper, the air thinner, but the climber scarcely noticed, for he had, along the way, become stronger of body and hardier of spirit. And still he climbed, and finally in the cool peace of the evening, he stood alone at the top of the world and looked around him. To the left, he saw a fiery golden sunset. To the right, he saw a diamond-studded, silky black night sky. Behind him, he saw the trail he had followed and the hikers who were following in his footsteps. And in front of him, he saw another mountain, and another, and another, and a whole procession of mountains marching off into the horizon. But the young man, for now he was a man, knew that none of these other mountains was insurmountable, that all could and would be climbed. For he learned many skills in the climbing of the first mountain, and he would carry those skills with him long after this mountain was forgotten. And besides, he could begin climbing the next mountain tomorrow. Tonight he would rest and celebrate and ponder the journey that he had completed. And so this afternoon we pause to rest and celebrate and honor this fine young man, Eagle Scout Ryan Mahoney, as he stands at the top of the world and looks around him. This is my chance for a couple little jabs, right? Optional comments. We heard earlier when Ms. Oakey was speaking that scouting is quite often the first thing you think of is the great outdoors. When you think of the outdoors, first thing that comes to mind is camping, then you think about hiking, you think about whitewater canoeing or rafting, and you think about canoeing. I can think of no scout that I have seen in the years that I've been associated with scouting that epitomizes that more than Ryan. I think he has mastered the outdoors to the point where he is more at home outdoors than indoors. This is his element. I've often wondered, what is his secret sauce, though? How can you actually pull it off? There are so many kids that actually like to go on the camping trips, and they can't wait to get home to play the video games, or they can't wait to get home to watch whatever's on TV. Ryan is the type that he would rather stay at the campsite, probably would be the last to leave, where everybody else is scurrying off to get home. Well, Ryan has got this amazing ability to stay warm when it's cold. It is miraculous, his body metabolism. If I could bottle it and sell it, I would. There's been many mornings, and by the way, we talked about the trail to Eagle starting at, what was the first rank? Scout, right? Ryan and I go back, because my son and Ryan are the same age, to what was your real first rank in Cub Scouts? Tiger. You've been in this since the first grade, right? And we've been on many camping trips together since the first grade. I can recall going through scout training, and they say if you ever find a scout who is cold, the first thing you do is you don't put a coat on them, you don't put gloves on them, you put a hat on their head. And believe me, I understand the value of a hat on your head, right? So here I am, all these times went out on trips with Ryan, on camping trips, laying in the tent early in the morning, in the sleeping bag, hard, cold ground, thinking, you know what, what's worse? Should I get up and get into the cold? Because Northern California, it's usually cold mornings, high 40s, low 50s. That's brisk. No fire started yet, right? So I'm in the sleeping bag thinking, what should I do? I think, all right, I'm going to get up, finally, escape this warm sleeping bag. I put on all my layers. I open up the open up the tent, and I walk out, and who's the first person you see? Smiling, bright sunshine. It's Ryan, right? First person you see, in shorts and a t-shirt. And if I'm not mistaken, I think flip-flops, right? So the secret sauce is, if we could bottle this up, I think everybody would enjoy camping, Jan, including yourself, right? And I'm not sure where he gets this from. It may be that maybe it's from your dad, because he does think he's a polar bear, doesn't he? And with all this high venture camping that he does, yeah, it's hereditary. But there's no doubt there's going to be more mountains to climb, right? Hopefully of higher peaks. And I hope you do many more mountains. But do me a favor, take a hat, okay? Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I would now like to call upon Mr. Carstensen to come forward and lead Ryan in the Eagle Scout Promise.
Okay, Ryan, during your time in Scouting, you have learned and lived the Cub Scout Promise, the Law of the Pack, the Cub Scout Motto, and the Scout Oath, Law, Motto, and Slogan. Each time you were presented with a new code of conduct, the words were unfamiliar, and you struggled to memorize them. Now, of course, you could recite them as easily as repeat your own name. They and the lessons that they have taught became a part of you. Today, for the first time, you will repeat the Eagle Scout Promise. Again, some of the words may be unfamiliar to you, but as you live out the life of an eagle, they too will become part of you. Making a new promise does not mean that you should forget all other promises. Instead, I challenge you to always remember and live by all the promises you've made as a scout and all the codes you've agreed to follow. By doing that, you will prove yourself worthy of the eagle rank you will receive today. Could you please stand, make the scout sign, and repeat after me? I reaffirm my allegiance.
I reaffirm my allegiance
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
the obligations and the responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
On my honor, I will do my best
On my honor, I will do my best
to make my training and my example,
to make my training and my example,
my rank and my influence,
my rank and my influence,
count strongly for better scouting
count strongly for better scouting
and for better citizenship
and for better citizenship
in my troop, in my community,
in my troop and in my community,
and in my contacts with others.
and in my contact with others.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
2. Congratulations. Okay, I too have an opportunity to make some comments on Ryan. It's really been a pleasure to be associated with the troop and have an opportunity to work with Ryan. One of the things that I've been lucky enough to do is spend quite a bit of time participating on high adventure treks with Ryan. Camp Kern High Adventure and some of the Philmont preparation hikes that you've done and other backpacking opportunities. And one of the things that's unique about such an opportunity like that is the obvious. You get to see physically how strong an individual is, but it gives you an opportunity to really see the character of an individual, their leadership ability, things that we just don't get to see in our weekly meetings. And it's really been a pleasure to see Ryan grow over the years. And he has a leadership quality that we've talked about it a little bit earlier, is you go to a weekly meeting and he's just surrounded by the younger scouts. They look up to him, and he has a quiet style of leadership, which is very, very effective. I know that Ryan, whatever he chooses to do in life, is going to just be very, very successful. Ryan, I know you turn 18 in a couple months, but we hope to see you at our scout meetings and continue helping with the younger scouts. And again, I'd just like to say once again, congratulations on your achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carstensen. At this time, I would like to call upon Mr. Chan to present the Eagle Award.
All right, Ryan, it's now a great pleasure and time for you to get presented the Eagle Award, but may you please escort your parents up onto the stage. You know that the Eagle Award is the highest rank in Scouting. This award represents many years of hard work and dedication to Scouting. Please present your mother with the mother's pin. And now please present your father with the father's pin. Now I ask Mrs. Mahoney to please present the Eagle Scout Award to your son. We asked the mother to present the Eagle Scout Award because it represents her support for all the years that he has been in Scouting and her love and dedication.
The father would probably stick him.
That was not part of my speech. It always looks easier on practice when with reality.
That's symbolic.
Yeah, that's part of the struggle, I guess.
That award is not going anywhere at this point. And now I asked your father to please present the Eagle neckerchief, the symbolism of the Eagle Scout.
This I can do.
You have now officially received your Eagle rank. Your name has been added to the list of Eagles in Troop 805 that have come before you. Congratulations, and on behalf of the Boy Scouts of America, I present to you Ryan Andrew Mahoney, Eagle Scout. I guess it's my turn to say something about Ryan. Many people have said a tremendous information giving you a background of this fine young man. I remember Ryan a few years ago at Cub Day Camp, probably back in 2007, when I saw Ryan with his dad with a camera taking tons of pictures of Cub Scouts in the Cub Day Camp summer camp. It always amazed me how dedicated Ryan was. He could have gone out and played around with all the other scouts. Instead, he stayed with his dad, and he stayed dedicated to his task of taking lots of pictures. If it wasn't for Ryan's Eagle Court, I think Ryan would be the one taking the pictures. You can't see Ryan without his camera, and you can't see Ryan without doing something for the troop or for other people. I always tell people that leadership, there's always something called the 4 C's of leadership that I like to always impress upon our scouts as well as the adults. The first C is competency. You have to know what you're doing. Ryan is extremely confident. He knows what he's doing, and I have yet to see him ever make a mistake. He's really good at what he wants to do because he's focused. The second C is commitment. If you're not going to be committed to what you're going to do, then don't do it. Ryan is always committed, and I'm extremely proud of that. The third C is compassion. Ryan treats everyone the same. He doesn't judge. He's very friendly to all the scouts. That's very important. And the final C, the most important one, is courage. Sometimes making the right decisions is not the easiest decisions. It's not the most popular decisions, but it's the right decisions. And you find here this young man has made lots of right decisions. So I'm extremely proud of Ryan. I hope all of you are as well. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. I would now like to ask Mr. Chu to the podium.
Good afternoon. At this time, we're going to have the Light of the Eagle. I'd like to ask that every Eagle Scout present today come forward and join in a single line with Ryan at the end. This candle represents the Light of the Eagle Scout. Gentlemen, as you pass along this candle to your newest member, please take the time to identify yourself, along with your unit number, the location of your home troop, and the date upon which you became an Eagle Scout.
My name is Mitchell Marvin. I'm a part of Troop 805 here in Danville, and I became an Eagle Scout on December 20th, 2012.
My name is Alex Chu, also with Troop 805. I'm Danville, and I became an Eagle Scout on May 17th, 2012.
Hi, Tim Akin, Troop 805, February 16th.
Kyle Hewen, Troop 805, June 2012.
Stephen Oki, Troop 26, Berkeley, California, 1970.
Chuck Smith, Troop 238, 1959.
Reverend Jeff Frost, San Jose, California, Troop 250 in 1976.
Spencer Carter, Troop 874, San Ramon, May 2009.
Dennis Blyant, Troop 163, Shoemakersville, Pennsylvania, 1967.
Scott Evans, Troop 329, Moline, Illinois, 1980.
Brian Mahoney, Troop 805, Danville, California, December 6, 2012.
Ryan, may the candle that you hold in your hands and all that it represents be ever safe in your keeping. Thank you, Eagle Scouts. You may return to your seats. I'd like to share a few impromptu words of an adventure that many of the boys in this room had last summer with Ryan, myself, and his father. Ryan led a group of 10 boys on a 92-mile backpacking trip in Philmont Scout Ranch, which is in the uppermost New Mexico-Colorado border. His father, Rand, and I were the adult leaders on the trek, and as we started our preparation about a year in advance, we went through a lot of different, I guess you'd call it norming, forming, storming, and performing, which is very eloquent words for total chaos. So there we were, ages 14 through 17, trying to figure things out a year in advance. And there was a lot of different consternation and churning. We didn't have a leader. We were a vacuum. We were rudderless. So as the boys, it became evident that as the boys were looking across the landscape of the troop and the boys that we were taking on the trek, they decided who was going to be the leader. All the boys voted, and it was unanimous that it was Ryan Mahoney. And I think that bears a testament to Ryan's character, his leadership qualities, his presence, and his character of being and in the moment, and his ability to really drive the boys and the men forward. And as we were preparing for our hikes, our training hikes throughout the balance of the summer, Ryan really demonstrated everything that we were looking for in that leader, and that leader that catalyzed that group of boys into something of a team and a unit together. And as we took off on our trek in New Mexico, Colorado border, we were 92 miles ahead of us, 12 days of camping ahead of us. We had Ryan there. We had Ryan there in spirit, we had Ryan there in physical, we had Ryan there mentally, we had Ryan there emotionally to support all of us. And that was really a testament to Ryan as a leader and also his family and the character that they instilled into him. So on behalf of the crew that we took to Philmont last year, I want to thank you, Ryan. Congratulations on your Eagle Scout.
Thank you, Mr. Chu. I would now like to ask Mr. Akin to present the American flag.
Ryan, in recognition of your high achievement, we'd like to present you with this American flag. Although it may look like the same as all the other flags of the U.S. that you've seen, this one is a little bit different in the fact that it's flown over the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., in your honor of this achievement, the highest rank in scouting, Eagle Scout. Oh my. Diane Feinstein. It appears that Diane has sent us the flag that was flying before your flag. Please accept this flag, Ryan, as a token, as a symbol of the flag that you will get, and we will use this flag at a retirement ceremony on a future camp out that Ryan will attend. Step up, son. Congratulations. You know, we joke at the American flag, but it's honestly nothing to joke about. It's something that we do take quite seriously. We have a little bit of fun with it because it takes a little coordination to get one from ordering process and stuff. But you know, I get to say a couple comments here, and I'm kind of unprepared. I was thinking about Ryan, and you know, there's been so many things that he has done. It's hard to just come up with one. I think throughout his career as a scout, the thing that stood out to me the most is that he's always there. Doesn't matter what the activity is, whether it's a service project, whether it's a camp out, he's always there, he's always present, and he's always active, and he's always involved. I think that if we go into Troop Master and look at participation in hours, there's probably only one person in Troop Master that's going to have a higher record for bike miles, hike miles, camping nights, and that only person is his dad, Rand. So, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, Ryan, congratulations on this great achievement. Way to go, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Akin. At this time, I would like to call upon Dr. LeBach to come forward and present the gift from the troop.
Thank you, Chase. I really got to know Ryan vicariously through my youngest son, Jacob. When Jacob joined the troop 3.5 years ago, he was elected patrol leader. Not because he really wanted to be patrol leader, just because no one else wanted to run. At the time, I don't think he really knew what a patrol leader was all about. I don't know if he knew what Boy Scouts was all about. Ryan changed that. Ryan was assigned to his patrol as the troop guide. Ryan not only helped Jacob learn his duties of patrol leader, he showed him what the model scout is, what leadership is, and what an Eagle Scout is. So I want to thank Ryan for having such a big influence, not only on Jacob, but all the younger scouts in our troop. That's really what an Eagle Scout is all about. So, Ryan, can you come up here? So, on behalf of each member of the Troop 805 family, congratulations. We recognize that earning your Eagle is a significant achievement. Over the past 28.5 years since our original charter in December of 1984, the troop has produced 67 Eagle Scouts. The Troop Eagle plaque commemorates all our scouts who have achieved the rank of Eagle. It's our Hall of Fame. We're very proud of all our scouts, especially our Eagles. It's a tradition of the Troop Parent Committee to put together a celebration book. And it contains letters of recognition. The letters come from President Obama, as well as past presidents, state and local government officials. So, Ryan, on behalf of the entire troop, scouts and parents, I'd like to present you with your Eagle book.
Thank you, Dr. LeBach. We have a few honorary guests with us today. I would like to introduce Danville Mayor Newell Arnrich and welcome him to the podium.
I'm always impressed when Chase runs these events because he has that commanding voice, which I think we share something in common. Well, I'm truly humbled to be here today as we stand in the shadows of the majestic Mount Diablo, here to honor Ryan. And I've noticed that there is nobody in this room that has a bigger smile more consistently than Ryan, with the exception of Rand and Jan. And that's acceptable. But when you look at Ryan and the years, and I've been around long enough, for 18 years, to come to 100 and something Eagle Courts in virtually every troop, and to see him when he was as small as some of the guys on the end over here, to see how he has grown up. But there's one thing that is always the absolute statement of who Ryan is, and it's that smile. That smile is so broad and so genuine and so easy. And it's interesting how you can, through your personality, convey who you are and how approachable you are. And Ryan, you've demonstrated that leadership, not only by your friendliness, but by your real true leadership qualities of wanting to help the younger scouts. And no doubt, as we've heard for some of the adult leaders, you helped a few of them along the way as well. And there's a lesson in that we can all learn from, no matter how big or how small, how old, how young. When somebody is genuine in what they do, that we can all take time to pause and learn from that moment. And Ryan, I know you're going to show us the world in the pursuit of your academic career through your lens of what the world looks like and what it means. And videography is a way to reinterpret the world and show how you see it, to give us back a reflection. And too often, as we walk through this beautiful community, we take for granted everything, and we don't stop to look at things. And I know as Ryan's goal is to get to San Francisco State into the cinematography program, which I'm certain he will, and then following that, he hopes to get an internship with Comcast Sports. But I suspect along the way, he really will demonstrate that the world looks different when you're looking through his eyes. And I think that's something that we're all going to look forward to and value. And Ryan, you know, leadership, I've always said that there's a simple view. And there's a lot of complex ways that people want to make leadership. But when you have a project to do or a goal to set, that when you cross that river and you turn and look back, you know you've made it as a leader, but nobody's left. And you really have done that in an extraordinary project. Most people, most young men don't know how to camp. They don't know how to take care of themselves because we as parents, other than those in scouting, have a tendency to shield. We want to give our children everything. Scouting gives our children and our young men the opportunity to fail, to succeed, and learn how to be resilient and stand on their own. And Ryan has clearly demonstrated those abilities way above and beyond the call. But leadership is also about the truth. And sometimes that's hard, whether you be in a community position or you be a scout or you be trying to do something. You have to be true to yourself, you have to be true to a cause, and you have to be truthful in what your reasons for doing something is. And you have helped many people. Some you have gotten to see. You've given a bicycle that probably somebody will pass along to somebody else. You will never know who that person was or how it changed their life. But we all know what you have done, and we are here today. And myself, also Vice Mayor Robert Storr is here today, and I wish our whole council was here. But we are really here on behalf of your community of Danville to say we are proud of you, we respect you, and we really want to honor your achievements today. So Ryan, I have two things for you. One, a proclamation, which I will read for you. And this reads, whereas Ryan Mahoney has achieved the highest honor in Boy Scouts in attaining Eagle Scout, and as such joins a very select circle in outstanding personal achievement. And whereas Boy Scouts of America promote leadership and good citizenship characteristics, and whereas Eagle Scouts represents the very best of what our society offers, high standards, demonstrated performance, selflessness, commitment to community, family, and spiritual values. And whereas your dedication to the community by collecting, repairing, cleaning, and distributing used bicycles to people in need through local service organizations provides an example for others to follow. Whereas in becoming an Eagle Scout, you also establish a firm foundation for further personal growth and leadership qualities. And whereas your involvement in scouting activities demonstrates your outstanding abilities as a leader. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Danville Town Council does hereby acknowledge Ryan Mahoney as formally being recognized in an Eagle Court of Honor for outstanding achievement of Eagle Scout. I have one of these left. These are out of print. As you know, one of our hometown heroes, a good friend of mine, Captain Sullenberger, has written 2 books. And I think his last one is probably the most important one. And it's about making a difference. You have made a difference in your community. There are 12 stories in here. 2 who live in this area. About how that they made a difference in their community in the pursuit of not only their career, but of their personal beliefs and their integrity and their honesty. And I give this book to you and to other Eagle Scouts because I challenge you. Chapter 13 is for you to write. We expect you, and I am one of those that is a former Scout, because I did not attain Eagle Scout. You are a Scout forever, that you will never stop being a leader, no matter where you go, and never stop making a difference in your community. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Arnrich. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Chuck Smith, the former CEO of AT&T, to the podium.
Well, before you feel sorry for me stumbling up here today, you ought to think about the other fella in that head-on-head slalom race that I had before I came here. Well, this is a culmination of a great day, Ryan. I don't think there's anybody in this room that's not impressed with what you've done. I know your mom, your dad, they're very impressed, and they have a feeling that you've done well. We all know you've done well. And there's many things that we've talked about historically about what's expected of you as an Eagle Scout. And I know a lot of you today are probably saying, well, how can this old broken down guy get up here and talk about Ryan, about scouting? He doesn't know anything about it. But I want to tell you, Ryan, you remind me of somebody I knew years ago, young man, somewhat frustrated. It was at a time when the United States of America was challenged to go to the moon, when individuals in this country said we were going to compete with the Soviets. Many of you, I look in the room and I know you know that time. I can tell it from the color of your hair or the absence of what that was like. Ryan, you don't have to say anything. You remember. And it was at a time when the country was embarrassed and all things were important, that we compete, that we do what we had to do in America. And this young man I knew, he came up at a time when they changed the science books and the curriculum and everything in the schools. And interestingly enough, during that period of time, interesting things were happening. And that young man saw all these books changing and things changing in his school, and he said to his teacher, I'd like to do that. I'd like to go build rockets. I'd like to go do these things. I know I can do it. And the teacher looked at him and said, well, I don't think you can do it. In fact, get away from me. You'll never make it. You don't have it. And the little boy went home and he cried. Can you imagine a child, 10 years old, wanting to commit suicide? Think about it. Think about it. Think about a young man that wanted to give up his life because someone was laughing at him because he was different. He had difficulty talking, reading, and the other young people laughed at him. And then he met a man that was in the Boy Scouts of America, and that man was a Scoutmaster. His name was Bud Peterson. He was in L.A. He told that boy, if you want to be somebody, you can be prepared, you can learn the Scout Oath, you can learn the values of scouting, and more importantly, you can be a part of America. Be a part of what makes this country alive. You can be a scout. And he gave that little boy a dream, as opposed to thinking about giving it up and chucking it all away and giving up on his life. He gave that boy a dream of scouting. And that little boy learned the Morse code. He learned all about radio theory and electronics. And he went on, despite all of the problems that he had, to get his first-class radio license. his ham radio license, November 6, Victor X-Ray Hotel, went on to work for a large corporation, and yes, you guessed it, went on to become president and CEO of a major Fortune 500 company. And by now, you've guessed it, that little boy was me. Scouting turned me around. That's why I'm here for Ryan. That's why I believe in people like Ryan. That's why Ryan touches hearts. You heard it today. This young man, far younger than his age, is touching hearts, making changes in lives. He's a leader. And once you are an Eagle Scout, you are an Eagle Scout forever. You saw these men stand here proud and say, I am an Eagle Scout, and I always will be. Ryan, welcome to our group. Welcome to what we do. I tell you, you will go on and solve problems in this country that my generation could not. You will go on and you will fix many of the ills in our society. You will continue to make your parents very proud, and America is a better place because you are with us. You are a scout, and you join a group of famous, wonderful, high-achieving, self-accomplishing men like Secretary Bob Gates, Bill Gates from Microsoft, Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense, Randall Stevens, Chairman and CEO, AT&T, and all of the men that stood up here with you. Think about it. And one thing that I want to tell many of the others here today, other young men that are in scouting. First off, let me thank all of the Scoutmasters and the volunteers and the people that work with young people like Ryan. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for building this country. Thank you for supplying the future leaders for this country. You are the backbone. You are the fiber of scouting. I know that, and I want to salute you. You are as important as our young eagles. And to you, Achieving Scouts, let me tell you what Ryan really has to do now. He's a template for what you ought to be. I know there are a few of you out there that are saying, well, I don't know if I want to be an Eagle. Gee, Mom, Dad, I don't really want to do this. You know I know who you are. You know I know. And I heard those conversations from Mom and Dad that said, you better get it done. And you said, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I've got other things to do. Don't you let anyone stop you. Don't you let anyone stop you from the rank of Eagle and being a leader, being a person that establishes himself and gives to this country and does all that he can do. You are important. And Ryan is going to be there for you as your Scoutmasters and these volunteer leaders. We need you. You are important. If I could achieve all of the obstacles, not because I was brilliant, but because of scouting, because they gave me the tools and the equipment to understand that maybe there are those that say you can't do it. Maybe there are those who say, here, there are many obstacles, but if you want to, and you are prepared, and you believe in the Scout Oath, and you practice it, you can and will, and you are an Eagle Scout. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you Mr. Ryan and to tell you how proud I am to stand with he and his fellow Scouts to say, congratulations, Ryan. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh. Thank you. Thank you. Ran, Jan, thank you. Thank you for giving your son to scouting and helping him. And by the way, Dad, you're getting a little slower, so you better move over, because when we come that downhill sliding, it's going to be me and him.
Okay, I got all your script here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chuck Smith. Ryan, today you have heard many people speak on your behalf. Now it's your turn.
Well, first off, I would like to thank Mr. Chuck Smith for being here today. I had the opportunity to speak at a council patrons dinner, and Mr. Smith was there and came over to my table and said, "When is your Eagle Court of Honor?" And this was back when I was like 4 years ago, probably. And he said, "I want to be there." And thank you for being here today. And then in 2011, I was asked to give a talk to our troops' charter organization, the Kiwanis Club of San Ramon Valley, sharing them about my experiences in scouting and in Troop 805. And as usual, I waited until the last minute to prepare my talking points. So with about 12 hours left to go, my dad was asleep on the couch with the TV on. And I was sitting in the next room with my computer, trying to write some points to talk about, and I started getting more interested in what was on TV than what was sitting in front of me on my laptop, and I overheard a commercial, and it was for the Dodge Journey, and its catchline was, "It's never been about getting there. It's been about getting the most out of the journey." And I think that definitely applies to scouting and anything that we set goals for and do. So after reaching my destination and more of a point of interest along the way, it's been quite a journey, trust me. And from everything from joining Cub Scouts back in the first grade at my Sycamore Valley Elementary School's open house, to earning all the 20 Weeblos activity pins, and earning my Arrow of Light, going on my first camp out without mom and the more rare thing, dad, to the first 6 days of being away at summer camp, to doing a 50-mile bike ride along Highway 1 from Santa Cruz, or Half Moon Bay to Santa Cruz, and we're going on that again next weekend. I'm very excited for it. Doing a 113-mile canoe trip. Mr. Blyle was our Scoutmaster, and Spencer was my canoeing buddy. I'm not sure where you are, Spencer, but thank you for being here, Spencer. To attending the 2010 National Jamboree at Fort A.P. Hill, to doing the 91-mile backpacking trip in northern New Mexico. And that doesn't include anything having to do related to me earning Eagle. So, but the amazing thing is each one was a significant journey within itself, whether they involved going to the Sugarloaf Open Space in Walnut Creek, just 9.8 miles from my house, to Birch Creek, Alaska, 3,105.2 miles from my house. But unfortunately, you don't come out unscathed from all your journeys. And whether it's a block of ice that fell on an adult's car while trying to come back from the ski slopes of Bear Valley, to a canceled flight trying to get up to Alaska, and then, or eye strain from trying to read your Eagle advisor's comments on one of your pages of your Eagle write-up where there was no white space left in the margins, and arrows going more directions than a first year with a compass. But as the poet T.S. Eliot put it, if you aren't in over your head, how do you know how tall you are? And scouting has definitely pushed me over my head, and I've definitely come out a few inches taller from each journey that I've walked away from. But the main thing I think is taking as many opportunities that you can, whether it's going on a camping outing the next weekend or being able to give a talk to local things, to signing off a younger scout's book. It's taking all those opportunities and trying to make the most of it. In Wahida, which is a language spoken in Tanzania, there's a proverb which says, "Amwana niwabone," which roughly translates to, regardless of a child's biological parents, its upbringing belongs to the community. And I'm not trying to discredit you, Mom and Dad. But looking around, it's very obvious that this is a huge community effort, from Boy Scouts to St. Timothy's community to Friends to the town of Danville and the whole area. It's very much a community. And I would like to thank everyone for being here, especially those who have helped me from day one to those of you who decided to help once you found out there's going to be a chocolate fountain at the reception after. So again, thank you, and can't say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I would like to call Mr. Screechfield up to the front, who is now here. Now I would like to award one of my mentor pins to Mr. Screechfield. And Mr. Screechfield was my first Cubmaster back in Pack 802, back when I was a lot shorter, both physically and in my experiences. And then until his son Brett moved into Troop 805, and my dad took over as Cubmaster. And his dedication to the troop is unmatched for being there as my first Scoutmaster for the first 5 years and welcoming me into Boy Scouts. Really helped lay that foundation. And I've seen him eat a banana like a monkey that traveled across a very dusty campery at Los Mochos out of the end of Livermore off Mines Road. And it was being run from station to station like a torch by 12-year-olds who may or may not have washed their hands in the last 12 hours. May not. And then there's Mr. Screechfield at the end, who was very, very enthusiastic eating that banana, and even though we may not have won, but still showing the amount of dedication and enthusiasm that everyone should show. So thank you, Mr. Screechfield. Thanks very much, Ryan. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Matsunaga couldn't make it. He was at a wedding in Washington. We would want to miss this, but I have a mentor pin for his dedication for helping me with my Eagle project proposal, making sure it had a contingency, and then another contingency in case that contingency failed, and a third level. And there's a page down in the reception that I talked about earlier that there's no white space left on it with comments and arrows, and it took me about 30 minutes just to read all the comments on that one page. But I would like to thank Mr. Matsunaga. And then maybe Mr. Chu, please join me in the front. So Mr. Chu was one of the two adults that accompanied our Philmont crew in preparation and trek to New Mexico. And I think he also nominated me for the vote to be crew leader, and which pretty much translates to two things. Make sure that no one dies or gets seriously injured, because I know you don't like to fill out paperwork. And that you and my dad had a good two-week vacation, so I hope that you both had a great time doing backpacking for 2 weeks in New Mexico. And Mr. Chu also was very helpful in fundraising. Before we left, we decided that it would be a good idea to fundraise to buy ultralight backpacking tents that we could take, and by selling little coupon cards. And Mr. Chu had great advice for me, and really, no doubt, contributed to its success. So thank you, Mr. Chu. And then Mr. Coughlin couldn't be here. He was camping with his wife, but he was kind of my first Eagle advisor, and very fortunate to work with him. And I really got to know him going to the National Jamboree in 2010, and really being there. And he's also the co-founder of Troop 805. And he's stuck around even though his son earned Eagle back in 1988, which is before I was born by 7 years. But so thank you to Mr. Coughlin. And again, thank you all for being here. It truly means a lot, and I can't say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I would now like to invite Mr. and Mrs. Mahoney to come forward to give the family response.
Well, as the way the Mahoneys usually do things, we've made our responses totally independent of each other. So I will begin my response, and please remember that. These were done totally independently of each other. Rand and I would like to sincerely thank each of you for being here to share this important celebration with us. It is heartwarming to see so many family members, friends, and neighbors. Some of you have known Ryan for most of his life. Others have been part of his life since we moved to Danville 13 years ago. Most of you know that I'm a teacher, and I'm very capable of talking for an entire 45-minute class period. Combine that with the fact that I have an audience and an opportunity to brag about Ryan, this could add up to a very long delay before we can all go over to the Grace House and for the reception. And I hear there's a chocolate fountain there, so maybe that makes worth waiting just a little bit easier. Seriously, I have thought a lot about what I would say as a parent response, and kept coming back to a well-worn quotation, "It takes a village to raise a child." I think this quote applies very well to how a young man becomes an Eagle Scout. This achievement cannot be downloaded from the internet, bought at Amazon.com, or achieved by reaching some level of a video game or absorbed through headphones. As of yet, there is no computer program available to achieve a virtual Eagle Scout rank. Why not? Well, you simply cannot do it all by yourself. We've listened to examples of many experiences that Ryan has had that have been part of his road to Eagle. An experience implies that you really have to do something. You have to be there, you have to show up, and most of the time you have to put your hands on something too. Sorry, no virtual camping trips, virtual hikes, virtual knot tying will satisfy Eagle requirements. We need to be aware that these experiences could only happen because a village of people gave their time, energy, and talents and supported Ryan in so many ways by surrounding him with their support, interest, care, and guidance. When I was growing up, I always wanted to be an only child. I thought of all the wonderful attention I would get, all the resources I wouldn't have to share, and how important I would feel. However, I never considered how being a part of a larger family adds all kinds of learning experiences that otherwise would not be available to an only child like Ryan. Not to worry, here comes the village to the rescue. You, as part of Ryan's family and larger extended family, have filled in the empty spaces, helping to raise him, touching his life in so many important ways, and even helping him to rise high enough to fly with eagles. I would like to end with one more quote from an unlikely source that I would like to share with you. It is from Ray Bradbury's sci-fi classic, Fahrenheit 451. High school English classes are often required to read this shockingly prophetic novel about the emptiness of a future dominated by an impersonal culture. This quote describes how it is possible to make a difference by making the world a better place, and how we live on in what we leave behind. Quoting, "Everyone must leave something in the room or left behind when he dies. A child or a book or a painting or a house or a wall built or a pair of shoes made or a garden planted. Something your hand touched some way so your soul has somewhere to go when you die. And when people look at that tree or that flower that you planted, you're there. It doesn't matter what you do, so long as you change something from the way it was before you touched it into something that's like you when you take your hands away. The difference between the man who just cuts lawns and a real gardener is in the touching. The lawn cutter might just as well not have been there at all. The gardener will be there for a lifetime. So thank you, villagers, for being gardeners and not lawn cutters. Thank you for planting, nurturing, and adding your special touch to help Ryan grow. Who you are and what you have done will be there with him for a lifetime.
A famous person once said, "Scouting is not an activity, it's a way of life." Scouting is not an activity, it is a way of life. Does anybody know who said that? It was Peggy Rowe. And just in case you're wondering who that is or how famous she is the mother of Mike Rowe of Discovery Channel's Dirty Jobs. In fact, Mike spoke at the last two national jamborees. He's a great speaker, and he comes from a great family. Scouting became a major part of their lives, and as I reflect upon the Mahoney family, Scouting too has become a major part of our lives for the last 11 years. And believe it or not, this truly is independent, but I'm also reminded of the old African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child." The Scout is trustworthy, right? And that truly is the case with Ryan. I believe that many people, many of you here in this room, helped teach and raise Ryan along the way to adulthood. And for that, we're very appreciative and grateful. So thank you so much. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of these experiences and about our journey. I remember when Ryan was about 5 years old and we were on vacation at Lake Tahoe. We were there with my sister-in-law, Joan, and her husband, Pradeep. We decided one day that we would hike the Eagle Falls Trail. Did you catch the name? Eagle Falls? How's that for a nice tie-in to Eagle Court of Honor? Besides, it would be fun, scenic, and it was only a 1-mile hike. The hiking books describe it as a hike that involves 420 feet of climbing, challenging but well within most 4 or 5-year-olds' capabilities. Well, we should be okay. I mean, Ryan was 5. Therefore, there's no problem, right? Sounds like a plan. After all, it was only 1 mile. Well, I have to say that 1-mile hike was a real challenge for Ryan and an ordeal for us. He struggled, he complained, He refused to go any further at times, sometimes sitting right down in the middle of the trail and would not move, in spite of encouragement from his dear Uncle Pradeep and my occasional frustrated comments. But you know what? We eventually did make it. We had a good time, and at the end, it left me wondering if he would ever enjoy hiking or the outdoors at all. Little did I know that 11 years later, he would be hiking 91 miles at Philmont, leading our crew last summer with a 40-pound backpack to mountain tops as high as 12,400 feet. Last year, Ryan had the opportunity to hike with his Uncle Pradeep before he passed away. The two of them had a great time, and the hills were no longer a challenge for Ryan. I know today that Uncle Pradeep would be very proud of you. Moving on, when Ryan started first grade at Sycamore Valley Elementary School, there was an informational meeting about Cub Scouts. Sounded like a good program, something that he would like. Besides, as his dad, starting me thinking about the good times that scouting, growing up in Seattle, that my brother Steve, Steve and I had in Boy Scouts and even Explorer Scouts. At Cub Scout Pack 802, we met great people like Kent Screechfield, Glen Akin, and many, many other fine leaders and scouts. We had a great time. At the end of the first year, Ryan's den leader was stepping down, and they needed a new leader. They asked me, I asked, how much time does it take? You know where I'm going with this. It's the classic answer. It's only an hour a week. And let me just digress a little bit. For those of you that don't know scouting, or don't come from the scouting circle, the standard answer is scouting only takes an hour a week. Doesn't it, Chuck? But it's the best hour you can ever have. Well, it turns out it was more than an hour, but who cares? I was having a great time in scouting, and Ryan was making new friends and having wonderful experiences, from camping to Pinewood Derby to sleeping on the USS Hornet, and dare I say, even hiking. Jan described scouting kind of as a tar baby. Well, the next year it struck. They needed more leaders to help out with Cub Scout Day Camp, or they would cancel it for the second year in a row. I said, why not? I'll help out. I want that experience for Ryan, for the other Cub Scouts, so I volunteered. And they needed somebody in charge of engineering. I thought, okay, I'm pretty handy with tools. I have a shop, stuff like that. So I volunteered, and all of a sudden, I realized that we had to build 1,800 kits from scratch for 5 days of activities for 360 Cub Scouts. And I thought, my God, what have I gotten into? But I have to say that Ryan, Jan, and our pack and the scouting community really came to help out. And as it turns out, we had 38 people pitch in over 3 weeks. You would not believe the amount of sawdust that came out of my garage. And over 40,000 operations, cutting, drilling, and so on, so that these scouts could have the kits. And I can remember them even talking about it. I was jogging one day, and I overheard a lady say to another friend how wonderful the kits were that they had at the Boy Scout or Cub Scout Day Camp. Little did she know that I was actually the person that was kind of heading the engineering. But it's really infectious when you realize just the impact that you have on individuals as well as to the community as well. It's a wonderful feeling, and one of the things I struggled, both as a father and as a scout leader, is trying to do both, and felt that maybe at times I was kind of compromising my role as a father, as a scout leader. But at the same time, I realized that Ryan was developing independence, and he was also, I think, modeling, from what I was able to display. And so for that, I'm very, very grateful. I'm also very grateful for the leaders that really stepped up and helped out, when I was busy as a Cub Master and then later as an ASM. I was able to see some of his growth in Boy Scouts. He became a troop guy for a troop, or for a patrol. Which patrol was it? Do you remember? The Wolverines, yes, the good old Wolverines. And I marveled at how good a job he was doing, really working with the boys. And they went to District Camporee, and they ended up with first place. And it's just amazing how he was able to really inspire those boys to do a great job. And I think about some of the great times that we've had in scouting, something that I think even as a father and son alone, we would not have been able to do. I think of, for example, the trip to Alaska. I got a call from Dennis Belial. There he is. And he says, can you please write a letter in the newsletter about this canoe trip that we have, an opening? Can you help us out? And I said, sure, I can write about it. In fact, I may even know some people that may want to go. Well, it turns out it was Ryan and I that wanted to go. We had a fantastic time. Ryan became very good friends with Spencer Carter, who's here as well, and with the scouts from Troop 874. And again, just another, lifetime experience. Other experiences, you've heard us talk about Philmont. Again, a good opportunity for Ryan to grow and to stretch and lead the group. I think it was about day 8 that he was struggling a little bit, coming down with a cold. It was a hot day. Even though everybody was doing their best in terms of hydration, he started to get dehydrated a little bit of heat exhaustion. And we realized that we had a problem. And he made the decision to, step down as leader and have Chase take over. He went ahead and we made arrangements to have him get over to the health lodge for a day and a half so that he could rejoin the crew. It's not always easy to do, to step down like that. But he took the courage to do that. And I was very, very impressed with it. And he even got the comment from the controller for Philmont, who happened to be driving the truck, taking him back, going, I'm surprised your dad isn't in the truck here with you, going back there. And yet I knew I had a job to do as an advisor for the crew to stay out there. I knew he was in good hands. And I think that's really the scouting community. We take care of one another. We believe in one another. We support one another. And so in closing, I want to say thank you again for all of your help, all your support along the way. It's really the journey, not just the destination. So thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Mahoney. I would now like to ask Mr. Carns to come forward and close this National Eagle Court of Honor.
Before I close it, I've known Ryan for many, many years, and I don't know whether you realize it or not, but there's a theme here today. We're proud of what you've done. We treasure who you are. So it's my privilege now to formally close this National Eagle Court of Honor honoring Ryan Mahoney.
May I please have Father Jeff Frost come forward to lead us in the benediction.
Well, once again, let us pray. We thank you, God, for the opportunity to come together as family, friends, leaders, and fellow scouts in this significant day in Ryan's life. We thank you, God, for your support of everyone who has helped guide Ryan on his Eagle Trail. We are grateful for the scouting experiences and opportunities that have led to this day. Help Ryan to live up to the honor, responsibility, and expectations that this Eagle Ward represents. Help him wear this title with pride and distinction as an example to others. Help him to fly in your presence with the wings of an eagle. Ryan, may you soar. May God's breath fill your wings and carry you to your destiny. May you continue to grow in wisdom, in stature, and in favor with God and all people that you will meet as you continue on the eagle's path. May you keep yourself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. May you lead by influence and not by title alone. May you lead with that delicate mix of humility, strength, example, and vision. May you bring these qualities into the lives of other young men, future Eagles, for all your days. And may the great Scoutmaster of all Scouts be with us all until we meet again. Amen.
Thank you, Father Jeff. May I now have Cole come forward to lead the retrieval of the colors. Will the audience rise?
Color guard, attention. Court, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Prepare to retrieve the colors. Retrieve the colors. Color guard, about, face. Retreat. Color guard, halt. Color guard dismissed. The audience, please be seated.
Thank you, Troop 805 Color Guard. Thank you all for attending this National Eagle Court of Honor. Everyone's invited to join Ryan and his family at the reception in the Grace House. And I believe it's that way, and there will be a trail of signs and balloons that will lead you to it, and then staircase going down or an elevator. Thank you.